All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. ATR podcast. Gio Garcia here. I'm alongside Christian Mosqueda. Is this the first pod of the year, Chris?
This is the first part of the year and a continuation of the part two of the award show. But yeah, Gio, this is technically the first one to kick off 2026, Gio.
All right, let's get it. 2026. Man, that sounds strange, but here we are. All right. If you guys tuned in last week, we did some of our awards. We posted them too on Instagram. We posted them on um, the posts tab on YouTube. You guys helped us determine some of the winners. As always, you guys get that third vote. You guys are the third judge. Uh, I get a vote, Chris gets a vote, and then you guys are the third judge. So we posted some more polls there on our channel. Um, Fight of the year, knockout of the year, and yeah, we got to get to those results, Chris. Do you want to do some fun ones? A couple fun ones before we get to those. You can do a couple fun ones, and then we'll get to the ones that we did the polls for, and then we can throw in some other ones there at the end.
Yeah, Gio, let's start with some fun ones. Let's recap real quick, though. Some of the awards we gave out last episode. Fighter of the Year, Gio, I believe we had Terrence Crawford. Trainer of the Year, I believe Papa Inoue got that award. So again, you see across some of the other entities, some of the other awards. Some of them match ours, others went another way. But again, it's all subjective. Again, like you said, we go with your vote, my vote, and the viewers' vote. But yeah, Joe, what do you want to start with in this award show, part two?
Yeah, so whatever you have on there, whatever you have on one of their fun ones, here's the poll for you guys if you guys missed it last week. Um, Fighter of the Year, Terrence Crawford won 57% of the vote. They also got Chris's vote, therefore claiming that prestigious award, the ATR 2025 Boxing Awards. Moses Itama, 69% of the votes there, you see, and also got my vote for Prospect of the Year. We had this one was tough to decide, the Trainer of the Year one, you see it there. A lot of the people went with Robert Garcia. Chris and I went with Shingo Inoue. And then the disappointment of the year, we ended up giving it to Gervonta Davis, despite that huge percentage there by Ryan Garcia. You see it there. 54% of the people thought Ryan was the disappointment of the year. But, as we move on, Chris, do a fun one and then we'll get into knockout of the year, let's say.
All right, well, let's start with boxing upset of the year, Gio. I'm gonna give you four different fights. Obviously, some of them are coupled with disappointment, some of them are coupled with, just letdowns throughout the year. But let's do boxing upset of the year, Gio. Let me give you some names. Number one, Caleb Plant versus Jose Resendiz. That one happened earlier in the year. Number two, Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero. Number three, the unknown at the time, Fabio Warley versus Joseph Parker. And then number four, the fight between Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, Gio. Let me know if you want me to repeat it, but boxing upset of the year.
Yeah, those were some good ones. If you guys are live in the chat, let us know which one you think. I have mine in mind, Chris. Give us yours first.
Man, obviously we know what the sexy name is, but and obviously you can make a case for any of these, Geo, but I'm gonna go with Caleb Plant versus Jose Resendiz because I knew very little of Jose Resendiz. I knew he was a game fighter, but obviously the name matches, with Caleb Plant, and it almost felt like this was gonna be a stay busy fight. It almost retires Caleb Plant, Gio. Again, since that fight, I haven't heard much of him. Not sure if he retired or not. I just know that he has not looked good the last couple of fights, and this one was supposed to be a gimme. And yeah, it's almost like he's got a foot out the door, Gio. So even though it was early in the year, and even though there's some other names that are sexier, I'm gonna have to say Caleb Plant versus Jose Resendiz. With Resendiz going out, coming out of that fight, the victor is my upset of the year for 2025, Gio.
Yeah, as soon as you mentioned it, I was like, oh man, that one's gonna win for sure. But you also had some other good ones. Resendiz there, as you saw, he was coming into the fight at 15-2 against Plant, and that one was interesting because they were trying to set up the Charlo fight. So yeah, that one kind of came out of nowhere. Plant didn't look good. Um, I like the Rolly versus Ryan one.
Yeah,
That's the mainstream one. That's the one where we all thought Ryan was gonna knock Rolly out, and Ryan looked terrible. However, I'm gonna go maybe with the least popular one there. Um, Fabio Worley against Joseph Parker. The reason why I'm picking that one is because Joseph Parker. Look at that role that he was on. We
yeah,
can start here with Deontay Wilder in 2023. All right, made easy work of Deontay Wilder. Won every single round, and then defeated Zhilei Zong in a very, very good fight. Knocked out Martin Bacoli, and then he proceeds to get knocked out by Fabio Worley. To me, that was very surprising, shocking, almost. And yeah,
yeah.
maybe not the biggest names out there, but this one really surprised me. Even though Worley, he had a good resume. He was coming into that fight at 19-0, 18 KOs. But you see there, not much on his resume, man. We didn't really know what he was made of. Obviously undefeated. He's 31 now, but man, I don't think too many people predicted this KO win over Joseph Parker. Yeah, I think all those options were really, really good ones, though. So, yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know if you guys want to help us decide there in the chat.
Yeah, once again, we're doing boxing upset of the year. The nominees are Caleb Plant versus Jose Resendiz early in the year, Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero. I was tempted to pick that one, Gio. Like you said, the mainstream one. It's the one that we all thought that, Rolly was going to get walked over. He's had some losses to the other bigger names in that division, and Ryan Garcia just did not show up to fight. The aforementioned Fabio Warley, like you said, against Joseph Parker, Gio. Joseph Parker was on a tear. Again, he should have won this fight fairly easily against a largely unknown Warley, but we saw what happened there. Very, very upset minded Warley does the unthinkable and beats Joseph Parker. And then finally, the one that didn't get about Terrence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez. Terrence Crawford going up to Canelo and dethroning him in that fight. But yeah, man, I guess we're gonna leave it up to Big Bro Gio until the other fans trickle in. We'll see what he votes for. But yeah, we need a tiebreaker for this one. You go with Warley versus Parker. I'm not mad at it. I go with Caleb Plant versus Ascendis, even though I was tempted to go with Garcia versus Rolly Romero.
All right, yeah, we'll let the fan vote decide that one. What else you got?
All right, this one's gonna be off the dome, Gio. This one's gonna be whatever comes to mind first. Revelation of the year. I didn't put any one person down just to see what comes to mind. When I think of revelation of the year, I think of an Espinosa when he dethroned El Tren last year, the year before. So again, it's somebody that comes out of nowhere, that just has a spurt and just comes onto the scene. So who was your revelation of the year off the dome, Gio?
Man, I gotta think. I gotta think.
In the meantime, I could give you mine, Gio, and I'm going to steal one from you. Fabio Warley, the person that we just mentioned in the boxing upset. I didn't know anything about this guy. Again, the guy with the resume, with the track record, with everything going for him was Joseph Parker. So, kind of the way, Espinoza did with against El Tren, coming out of nowhere. Obviously, like you said, had a pristine record, undefeated, not to be messed with, under the radar, largely under the radar. Fabio Warley for me is the revelation of the year because I had no idea who this guy was. Yeah, obviously when we look at these kinds of fights, we look at the records. You see that 19-0 or the undefeated, and you think like, oh, okay, they're good. They haven't lost, but they haven't fought anybody, of the opposition or the name like a Joseph Parker. So for me, the fact that he got this huge win over a still young Joseph Parker was very surprising to me. So I'm gonna have to say that's my revelation of the year, Fabio Warley. He sets himself up for, you know, big paydays and a big fights come 2026, Gio.
All right, that's a really good pick there. Um, can I say Rollies is my revelation now? Should I pick someone else?
That's not bad.
I'm
Hey,
trying to
you know,
figure out. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's not a bad pick, Gio. Again, Revelation could be mixed in there with comeback, and yeah, Rolly's really, showed off. I'm guessing 95% of people had him written off, and so for him to seize that moment, that was a revelation. So I'm not mad at that, Gio. But let's see what else comes to mind for you.
I was gonna say Murtazaliev, but that fight against Tim Tszyu was October 2024, and nobody wanted to fight him in 2025. So
Yeah,
I don't know. I was gonna say the category most voted fighter, and I was gonna say Murtazaliev. I don't know if you could think of anyone else, but I'll come up with a name for for the other one.
yeah. No, again, I'll stick with Fabio Warley again. Trying to think of other revelations of the year. But yeah, that's the one for me that most stands out, Gio. If you can't think of one, you can say, yeah, that's a good one. Let's go with it, Chris. 2-0.
I'm fine with that.
And we can give you're fine with that. Let's do that. That's 2-0. No third vote needed. Revelation of the year goes to Fabio Warley, man. And again, we'll circle back for boxing upset of the year. But yeah, Gio, let's move on. Let's have a fun one. Man, I know we're gonna have a good time with this one, but let's do top five worst fights of 2025, Gio. You ready for this?
All right, go for it.
All right, top five. Number one, in no particular order. Number one, Canelo Alvarez versus William Skull. Number two, Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez. Number three, Rolly Romero versus Ryan Garcia. Number four, Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. And number five, I left it out there for other, if you could think of any others, but those four, man, just either it wasn't what people expected, either there was no action, either they were, running around the ring, or it was just a dud. But yeah, those are the ones that most stick out, Gio. Top five worst fights of 2025. Does any other fight come to mind, or you feel like we covered all the bases with those five?
I think those were all good. I don't think I can think of any other ones. Those were all good. Do I got to pick or?
Got to pick and tell me why.
Oh, Canelo Skull. I think I remember coming out here the that week after it happened, and I was so disappointed by Skull. He had a huge opportunity against a face of boxing. He was fighting Riyadh season. They hired him to
Yeah.
come over here, Turkey. I'm sure splashed the cash to go in there and do what he did. Just literally move around the ring, try not to get hit, try not to get hurt. Man, that was bad. That was a terrible, terrible show.
Okay, nice. That's a good pick. Again, those two of those four were on the video game night, Turkey, trying to put that show in Times Square. So that was a full on dud. Man, I was kind of moving towards Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez. I was kind of going for those because it was just running around Jose Ramirez trying to cut the ring off, but you could tell he was just, a little past his prime where the legs just were not what they once were. And David Haney just running just made it a dud. But no, I'm gonna have to agree with you, Gio. Canelo Alvarez, William Skull. I think for me it was just every time Canelo fights, twice a year, big events. You're always looking forward to these kinds of fights, and you always, prepare for these moments, for these events. It's the Canelo show, and unfortunately, his opponent chose to run, and couple that with Canelo unable to, cut him off or, you know, try to make it a. I know he was trying, but he just wasn't cutting off the ring the way the face of boxing should. So again, I think that's my worst fight of 2025 because we expected just so much. And again, like you said, Williams Cole had a chance to, even in defeat, to try to make a name for himself. And look what happened. Dud hasn't been called back, at least to my knowledge. And yeah, again, that just taints any semblance of a career that you had.
Yeah, and look, I feel like, the expectation, like you said, was there. Canelo fights are usually exciting fights. It gives us something to talk about. And I feel like maybe Devin Haney, we're just kind of used to that type of fight. And maybe that's why we're so numb to it. We're so used to it that we don't even want to
Yeah.
vote for him. But yeah, as Big Bro says, Gonella versus the Cuban chump for the magnitude of the fight. Yeah, that guy, he had zero intentions of fighting that night. It was insane.
Yeah, no, again, I know Canelo won on paper, but man, I almost feel like he took a couple L this year. But yeah, man, I think without a doubt, Alexis, Big Bro doing the vote of the chat for now, clean worst fight of 2025, Canelo Alvarez versus William Skull. Man, I gotta wait. We obviously gotta blame William Skull more because he could have at least stayed a little bit in the pocket, and he chose not to. And hey, that's all she wrote. Never got a call back. Got the payday, but ain't getting no more paydays after that, in my opinion.
Interesting, interesting. Yeah. Let's go to the opposite. Let's go to the fight of the year before we get into some other
Nope.
ones. Chris is going into the fight of the year. Let me remove that from your screen so you guys can't see the results there. But some of the candidates, let's see, were ooh, I can actually pull it up because I haven't even put the results up there.
I haven't even voted because I want to be surprised.
All right. So Ken, first of all, honorable mentions. I was looking around at some lists from other outlets, and surprisingly, a lot of them were mentioning the Inoue versus Cardenas fight, which I can see because Chris, you mentioned Skull Canelo, you mentioned Ryan against Romero, you mentioned Devin Haney. Those were all on the same weekend, so
Yeah.
obviously that fight stood out as the one that kind of saved that Cinco de Mayo weekend, the Inoue versus Cardenas fight. So I do want to mention that one. I was very tempted to put it on the poll. Cruz and Fierro as well, Pitbull Cruz and Angel Fierro. If you guys remember that fight, these guys were just going at it. That was a brutal, brutal war. But they didn't quite make this list. The ones that did make the list was Better Biev and Bivol 2. I saw a lot of people giving that one credit as well. Second fight, maybe more of a chess match, more of a boxing match, more so than the first one. So I'm glad that people gave that one some credit. Eubank versus Ben 1. That one, to me, kind of flew under the radar a little bit. Obviously, the beef was there, the built-in beef between both fathers fighting a few times, and now these guys kind of continuing that beef, that legacy. And they actually fought twice, but the first one was the one that stood out. I think it was a great fight. Eubank missed weight. I feel like a lot of people weren't really paying attention to this fight anymore, and then it turned out to be a very, very good fight. Mason versus Noakes, which was a title fight. Very entertaining back and forth war. And Mason showed a lot in that fight to win that belt. And then Buatsi against Smith, too. Another war, one where Smith was the underdog and ended up winning by a good margin in that one. So that one was surprising. And yeah, both men ended up with a lot of war wounds on their face. But yeah, help us out with this one. I haven't revealed the votes yet, Chris. So far we have 138 votes. 138 votes.
Nice.
So yeah, give us your thoughts first. Don't give us your pick yet, but give us your thoughts.
Well, let me just give a shout out to another honorable mention, Gio. I'm gonna mention Martinez versus Zimbilli. I thought that was a great fight. I feel like that one also fight it falls in line with Fierro Cruz. The other four, man, excellent picks, man. That was also kind of my list, my top four. Man, first of all, Gio, I was at two of four of these fights. So I mean, I can tell you without a doubt that the Callum Smith Watson fight was excellent, great fight. I was in Saudi Arabia for that one, and great fight to start off the night over there. Better Be versus Dimitri Bivol too was, I don't want to say it was action packed, toe to toe, but it was like you said, it was a chess match, and I was at the edge of my seat because I'm over there counting round by round. I'm counting all the rounds that Beterbiev tallied up early on. I'm seeing that pendulum swing, that fight swing towards Bivol way. And then towards the end of the fight, I'm doing the math. I'm like, oh my God, I think Bivol will edge that fight. So yeah, that one had me very excited. But Gio, even though I was there in Saudi Arabia, even though it was a great card, I still don't think those two were fight of the year. I'm gonna go down to Conor Benn versus Eubank Jr. and Sam Noakes, Abdullah Mason. Those two were excellent fights. Like you said, that the first Conor Ben versus Eubank Jr. fight was excellent. Yeah, that one's gonna live in the annals. I'm sure they're gonna have pictures of that fight in their homes for the rest of their lives. Man, Gio, this one's tight. I'm gonna have to go though with Sam Noakes and Abdullah Mason, Gio. And let me tell you why. That fight was a fight that like doesn't get all the fanfare, doesn't have the biggest titles, doesn't have the biggest names, but it was a fight that showed up, showed Abdullah Mason's, his arsenal. He could have boxed, could have made it easy, but he chose to fight a toe-to-toe fight. He was trying to send a message, I think, to the other men in that division. And shout out to Noakes because I thought that he was going to break down at any moment. We've always said, and we've been critical of the UK fighters that they tend to, fall flat. They tend to, give in and just they don't
If
live up to
you're
the
an
hype.
illegal,
Sam Noakes, tough guy. Went the distance, made it very competitive. What a heart! And so to me, just because of those attributes, that to me is fight of the year.
Yeah, I'm trying to play some of the highlights here. If this will let me. Some
if you're
ads
an
popping up here. Um, yeah, it's tough. That's a very very tough one because man, I feel like a lot of these fights are really really good. And in order, I can play some of it here for you guys. Hopefully, we don't get copyrighted. But yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Abdullah Mason went down in this fight, right? Is that right?
Not 100% sure, but I know he took some damage.
Yeah, let me put
Not crazy damage, but yeah, he took some leather from Noxie.
Yeah, we're playing some of the what is this? The highlights. Yeah, this one, man. I feel like in a title fight for a young fighter, this is what you want to see. You want to see him overcome those tough moments as we continue to watch some of the highlights here. Oh man, both men going at it. I was impressed by Noakes. I'm glad. Obviously hadn't really heard much from him before the fight, but look, he was taking the body punishment there, obviously upstairs against a young, athletic guy and Abdullah Mason, and he was durable. He was durable. He made Mason work for it. Man, I think I'm gonna need some help with this one, man. I think I'm gonna need some help with this one too. Big Bro says Bivol better be of two for the stage and the excellent skills. That was probably the fight that I most enjoyed this year. I was at the edge of my seat. Like you mentioned, once the fight started getting closer and closer, it was like, man, what's gonna happen in this one? Obviously, we knew Beterbiev possesses that one punch power that can really hurt you. And obviously Bivol, he showed some good power in that fight too. Man, let's go back to the options and see what we have, what we can eliminate. Um, I like the Smith Boazzi fight too. Man, I'm gonna leave it up to the fan vote, Chris.
All
I'm
right.
gonna leave it up to the fan vote. I'm gonna cast my vote. I'm gonna choose this one because to me, I didn't even watch this fight, Chris. I'm gonna put it like that. Like live, I didn't really care for it. I was like, man, these two guys, but they actually lived up, I would say, to the hype. Their fathers had that built-in beef, that legendary beef, UK beef, and these guys actually lived up to it. To me, that was a big, big surprise, and maybe that's why I'm choosing it. But I'm gonna go ahead and click Eubank Ben 1, which only got 28% of the votes, Chris. 59% of the voters on YouTube picked Beterbiev and Bivol.
Oh, that one. Oh, so we split three ways then. So the fans voted for Better Be People 2. You got Eubank versus Ben 1.
Hey,
And I got Mason and Noakes.
look, for the first time, we might have to use a fourth judge, Chris. We might have to call in the AI judge. AI in this case might just be Big Bro, honestly. He voted for Bivol, Beterbiev. Let's see if anyone else votes for any other ones, any other fight in the chat. But yeah, I wouldn't be mad if that's the winner. I think that was the I would say the biggest fight of the year that delivered. If you look
Yeah,
at the
I wouldn't be
other
mad at it.
yeah, if you look at
Yeah,
the other big fights, like I think Canelo Crawford disappointed a little bit. Usyk did his thing against Dubois, but we didn't have like too many crazy fights like that this year. At least um those big mega fights. We mentioned
yeah,
the Cinco de Mayo weekend. A lot of those fights were disappointing, man. So I think this is the one fight where there was a lot of hype around it, and they both men actually delivered. Better be than Bivol.
yeah. No, I agree. I think for me, I saw this as like if I strip it down to the fight, just the fight without the outside theatrics and everything, I would stick with Mason Noakes, but I'm not mad at it. It looks like our fans voted 12%. Eubank Ben got what, 26, 27, 28%. Even if
28.
we added up, even if we add up your vote and my vote percentage wise, we still fall short. So man, I wouldn't be mad giving fight of the year to Better Brick versus Evil too, Gio. Again, there's a reason why I flew out there. The card was massive, the stakes were massive. It's easy for us to forget it a little bit because it happened so early, but I agree with Big Bro, the magnitude and what it meant, what the rematch meant. Again, getting even things out at 1-1 just makes it even more impressive. Again, if you tell me who's going to win after 4 rounds, I would have said Better Be is closing this trilogy, or not even letting it go to a trilogy, and closing it out at 2-0. And we saw what people did. Skills pay the bills, and he was able to come back. And I think I have the fight 7-5 in favor of Bebo, but he had to lock in. He had to summon all of his skills to thwart off the monster in Metro. So I wouldn't be mad, Gio, if we give
All right,
this
let's do it,
fight of
Chris.
the
You're,
year.
you're doing a lot of talking. Fight of the year. Hey, we had to call in the fourth judge. It's like football, right? Soccer. We call in the fourth ref to help us out. Big bro with the Bevo better be a vote. And hey, I'm fine with that one. That's a great pick.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Not mad at that. We'll make sure we'll do it like the Champions League and fill that into the trophy case, man. We'll get these awards out.
All right,
Gio,
yeah, go ahead.
would you want to move on to performance of the year? I got some good names up in this category.
Oh, come on, Chris. That's a given, but let's hear it.
All right, top performance of the year. I have about 6 fights, Gio. Number one, your boy Terrence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez.
Okay,
Number two, no,
wait. Let me stop you there. So obviously that one's gonna get the vote, right? But let me see if you can change my mind though. I think this is a given. Let's see. Let's see this list. I'm intrigued.
number two, Alexander Usyk versus Dan Dubois 2. Number three, the aforementioned Dimitri Bivol versus Archer Bertrand 2. Number four, Ajit Kabayel versus Zile Zong. That was a good fight. Number five, Fabio Warley versus Joseph Parker, which we mentioned earlier. And number six, but not the least, of course, Jesse Bam Rodriguez against Fernando El Puma Martinez, Gio. So, yeah, man, great picks out there. Each one, has a case for performance of the year. So, again, this one, a little separate from fight of the year, is what person did their thing to cement themselves, this calendar year and put themselves up for success for 2026, man. But who did their thing in 2025 and performance of the year, Gio? What do you think?
All right. Look, that's a very good list. So I'm gonna hit you with this one right here.
I know. And I don't know who NM is, man. Flat out. To this day. To this day.
That was a good list. I'm actually impressed. Man,
Thank you, thank you.
you know, obviously if you want to vote for someone other than Terrence Crawford, Fabio Wardley one impressive, KOing a veteran heavyweight who was supposed to get a big fight, for possibly the undisputed title in Joseph Parker.
Yeah.
Bam Rodriguez, man, damn near flawless versus Puma Martinez. Man, that was just a boxing clinic. Usyk, I like that performance against Dubois. You got to go in there and do what you got to do, man. People are calling you undersized. People are saying Dubois just KO'd Anthony Joshua. You go in there, you make a statement. Boom, stop him. Man, I don't know. I think it's just a little unfair because Crawford, the undisputed, going up in weight. Obviously, the face again facing the face of boxing. Man, it has kind of like that's kind of like a cheat code, you know.
Yeah.
So obviously, I'm gonna vote for the obvious one. But if I didn't have to, the other ones are. How do you differentiate them, man? They were all great in their own way because we named Fabio Wardley as the revelation of the year. I'm gonna just vote for someone different. I might
Yeah.
have to say Bam against Martinez. That was a straight up beating, Chris. Belt to ass. Boom. Whooping. Flawless. Beautiful. Even the KO. He was waiting for his moment. He waited for the counter. I would say Bam. Yeah, if I had to vote for Crawford versus Canelo, that was great.
Yeah, Gio, I'm gonna keep this one short, which is something I don't often do, but and I can make a case for all these other fighters, but I 100% agree. Jesse Bam Rodriguez outclassed, outmaneuvered, made Fernando El Puma Martinez, a title holder, seem like an amateur. All these other guys had great fights and great moments and did some great things. Every single one of these, Gio. But when Jesse Rodriguez did to Martinez, he just separated himself levels and levels and levels above a title holder. So yeah, I think performance of the year, without a doubt, Jesse Rodriguez. Man, just our class is too little for you.
He made it look so easy. It was crazy, like you said, against a champion. Like
Yeah.
there's just the difference in levels. I felt sorry for Martinez in that fight. It wasn't a it wasn't a question of if Bam would knock him out. It was a question of when Bam was gonna knock him out, and it was a spectacular finish. And just the difference in levels was just so huge. I mean, it's in big title fights like that, it's not very common, I would say. And Bam just dominated. It was insane.
And again, Gio, when the commentators are, running out of things to say without it sounding like you're gassing up one of the guys, man, that just shows you how dominant it was. And again, we talked about how Jesse Bam Rodriguez might fight in a way in 2 years, man. That kind of performance has people talking about that fight and this year, which is I still think it's too soon, but that's how dominant he was that they're trying to move him up to find some kind of competition for Bam Rodriguez. So yeah, in my opinion, without a doubt, top performance of the year. Even though everybody else had some claim to it, this one was just separation at its finest, Gio.
Big Bro also named the good one Stevenson versus Cepeda.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Basically won every round. That was summer of 2025. Yeah, that's a good pick right there. He should be considered, he says.
Yeah. Yeah, not mad at it, but yeah. Bam Rodriguez, man. We're gonna run out of trophies to give this guy, Gio. We met him years ago and such a nice humble kid, but a complete tactician in there, Gio.
100%. Let's go to the KO of the year, Chris, because I believe we do have a video for that one, and I can go ahead and play it. These were your 4 options, and I'll just play the video, and then you guys can, if you haven't voted, this can possibly help you decide. Let's go ahead and play it here. All right, there you have it. Jai Alpataya versus David Nika. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. Nika. January 8, 2025. You see there. Out on his feet, Chris. That's how he had him. Out on his feet. All right. What else do we have? Right here. Ramon Cardenas versus Eric Ayala. Counter, right? Boom. Man down. That one happened recently, December 18, 2025. Big one right there. This one we spoke about it. Brian Norman Jr. versus Jin Sasaki in Japan. Boom! Left hook, down and out. Title fight. That's where Norman won that vacant belt, I believe it was. Laid him out. And then this one happened recently too, December 12th. Pulev laid out by Gassiev. Whew. It's going to be a tough one, Chris. Give us your thoughts.
Man, I'm still reacting to these knockouts. They are hellacious. Each one, if I was only seeing one, I'd be like, that's it. That one's it. That one's it. But man, back to back to back, it's very tough. The punch, just how laid out their opponents are. Oh man. Whew, this is tough, Gio. This is tough. Man, I thought I had one. I thought I was convinced, and then I see them all over again. I'm confused all over again, man. I'm gonna let you take this one, Gio.
All right. So, man, these are so tough to decide. But for me, the one I'm gonna pick is the one that I thought was really. It was high stakes. It was for a man who was going to another country, title fight, and to do that the way that he did it, obviously no surprise now, right? Brian Norman Jr. against Jin Sasaki. This fight was June 19th, 2025. I mean, to do that, like I said, away, you see it there on your screens. Let me replay that. To do it away, the other side of the world, title fight, and one punch KO like that, like 1-2 there, jab to the body, boom, left upstairs, laid him out. No chance. That's how you do it when you go overseas. That's how you do it. So I'm going to go with that one, even though, man, these are all very tough to decide.
Ah, man. Yeah, again, they're all very tough, and our boy Cardenas with the late entry at the end. Nice. It's crazy, man. I gotta give him props, Gio, because yeah, man, we forget that he kind of saved Cinco de Mayo, and then he does another one like this. Even though, yeah, man, again, shout out to him. But
Let me say something real quick. I really wanted to vote for him, Chris. I really wanted to vote
yeah,
for him. The only reason I voted for Norman Jr. was, like I said, title fight. He did it over there in Tokyo, Japan. And that to me was the only thing that really differentiated those two. Just the high stakes, and that's how you win your belt. Like, man, but I was very, very close to voting for Ramon there. Just wanted to put that out there. Very, very close, man.
you know what? I'm gonna let that bias kick in, Gio. Every once in a while, I let that bias kick in. Why not? I'm gonna say our boy Ramon Cardenas with the late entry steals it at the end. He saved boxing Cinco de Mayo weekend, even though he came off short against the monster in a way. But I'm gonna say he bounces back and steals the knockout of the year. Obviously, I might get ousted, but man, let's make things interesting. I'll let the fans decide, man, for the final vote, Gio.
All right, let's do it. Let's see what the fans voted for. Where are we at? Not that one. Let's close that one. All right, let's go to, whoops. All right, let's go to our channel here. Adding to the anticipation here. All right, so I'm going Brian Norman Jr. Chris is going Ramon Cardenas. Shout out to him, friend of the show. And let's see, knockout of the year. Oh, look at that. On the poll, I voted for Cardenas. I'm not going to lie. You see my vote there. But 62% of the audience voted for Norman versus Sasaki. Wow. Overwhelming majority. Cardenas, 13%. Opetaya, 20%. Gassiev, 6%.
Yeah, no, man, it was a great knockout for everything that you mentioned, Gio. To do that far away in Japan, you know that those Japanese crowds are very respectful, super quiet. You know that you heard that, that knockout bounce off the canvas. And yeah, man, again, that knockout alone is why, Norman Jr. was a live underdog in that Devin Haney fight, even though he came up short in that fight. But yeah, shout out to him. Great knockout again. He had a good knockout against Santillan years prior, and this one showed that he's got that power. So hopefully he gets a good bounce back year in 2026. But shout out to him, man. Knockout of the year for Norman Jr.
Yeah, insane KO. Insane. All right. So, I believe that was it for our polls, Chris. Do you have any other fun ones there that you want to mention? Or other interesting ones?
Two more, Gio, and we're going to give this one. It's called the Arturo Gatti Action Fighter of the Year Award. This award goes to a fighter that is always action, is always fan friendly. They always come, it almost feels like, money's not an issue to them. They just do it because they love the sport, they love the action, they love to please the fans. And of course, named after Arturo Thunder Gatti, rest in peace, champ, for his fan friendly action style, Gio. So I'm going to get three names. Feel free to add any other names that you'd want to throw in there. But yeah, number one, Naoya the Monster Inoue, just because of his activity, come forward action. Again, 4 fights in a calendar year. He's trying to please the fans. Number two, Virgil Ortiz Jr. Not much to say about Virgil Ortiz Jr. that you don't already know. He's always there, offensive fighter, Taylor style of the Robert Garcia Boxing Academy. So Virgil Ortiz Jr. And number three, David Benavidez Jr. This guy, even though I know he's got his controversies, Gio, he resonates well with the boxing fan. Just continues to be raw, to be an all action fighter. Not the best of defense, but it doesn't matter when all of his offense speaks for him. So those are the three names, Gio, for Arturo Gatti Action Fighter of the Year. Feel free to add any names, but for now, I think that's a good list, Gio.
Yeah, Naoya Inoue was the first name that came to mind, which is crazy because, he's number one on many people's pound for pound list. And usually, like these type of awards, you think of those brawlers, those guys who go at it back and forth. But, this guy, he can do it all. So that's the first name that came to mind. I like the Virgil Ortiz. That was the second name that came to mind. The only reason I would say the monster, like Big Bro voted here too, he had 4 fights. Virgil fought what was it, like 13 rounds this year? He had 1 fight and then he had that short one versus Lubin. So because of activity, consistency, doing it 4 times and staying true to, I don't even want to say his styles. I want to say Naoya Inoue, man. He gave us a lot of excitement. And like you said, you shouted out our boy Ramon Cardenas for that Cinco de Mayo performance. We got to shout out Inoue as well because he got knocked down in that one and he came back and fought. He never retreated. He never usually does. So I'm going to say Naoya Inoue for my vote.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick, Gio. Before I lock in mine, let me add one more fighter. I'm gonna put Bakram Murtazaliev in that fight because every time you see him fight, he's action, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to fight him. Fortunately, he does have a fight date this January against Josh Kelly, and there's some IBF movement that we'll talk a little bit later before we wrap up. But I'm gonna throw him in there, Gio. And with that said, Naoya Inoue, Virgil Ortiz, David Benavidez, and Bakram, I'm gonna have to go with Naoya Inoue. Again, this award, when I think of this award, Gio, I think of if I have to show a fighter to the casual that's gonna represent the sport and everything that's great about it, and that's gonna make them tune in. This is the fighter that I put. Arturo Gatti, that would have been an excellent, when somebody sees Arturo Thunder Gatti, you want to see boxing, because you're always gonna get a great fight. So with that said, Gio, I agree with you. Now you're in a way 4 fights in a calendar year. Man, you can't ask for more than that. So I think he's a well-deserved person for Arturo Gatti of the Year award, Gio.
Agree 100%. You got one last one there before we get out of here? Or before we move on to the next topic, because we do have some action.
Gio, let's do it. We already talked about the worst fights of 2025. Let's look ahead and think of the top 5 fights to make in 2026. We obviously already have Teofimo Lopez versus Of course, Stevenson, a great fight in this calendar year, this month. But let me give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fights that can be made in 2026, and you tell me which is the one that you want to see the most. So number 1, Naoya Inoue versus Junto Nakatani. Number 2, Virgil Ortiz versus Jaron Boots Ennis. Number 3, David Benavides versus Artur Beterbiev. Number 4, David Benavides again versus Dimitri Bivol. Number 5, Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. And number 6, Canelo Alvarez versus Hamza Shiraz. And if you want to add another one, Gio, feel free to add.
All right. So you mentioned Inoue versus Nakatani. Where are the next two?
Virgil Ortiz versus Boots Ennis. And then David Benavides versus Beterbiev. And then David Benavides versus Bivol. Tyson Fury versus Joshua. And Canelo versus Hamza Shiraz.
Hey man, they're saying that Joshua retired. I don't know if you read that. You know, we know that a lot of these guys retire and then unretire. Obviously, he's going through some personal stuff right now, so we'll see. But man, I would add Bam Rodriguez against Junto Nakatani on there.
Ooh, nice, okay.
But I don't know. I feel like we've been mentioning Inoue so much this podcast, so I'm gonna keep mentioning him. Inoue versus Nakatani. I feel like those lighter weights always deserve more credit, and these guys are pound for pound talents. The other ones are good. Virgil against Boots, that would be great because we want to see Virgil in those title fights, and I feel like this would be Boots' big fight, right? We think that's one of the criticisms. He has 30 plus fights. Doesn't really have that signature win yet, I would say. So that one, man, that's a close one. Fury Joshua, again, biggest fight in UK history. I would still love to see that. I think that would just be a spectacle. They know how to do it over there at Wembley with the UK fans. That would be amazing. But I'm just gonna go with the monster against Nakatani. Man, yeah, I'm gonna say that one.
That is a great fight, Gio, and I feel like that one's going to get made. And we might need a tiebreaker because I'm going to go another way, even though I want to see every single fight on this card. But the Mexican monster, another monster in boxing, comes up twice on this list, Gio. So I'm going to say Benavides, drum roll. I'm going to say versus Beterbiev. And I'm going to say him above Bebo because I feel like Bebo will outbox him. So I kind of want to see an immovable force like Beterbiev versus somebody like David that, I mean, doesn't have a lot of defense, but a lot of offense. So that's like two offensive, come forward kind of forces. So I'm going to say that fight to be made for 2026, Joe, after he gets through Zurdo Ramirez. But yeah, man, I think we're going to need Big Bro to break the tie. See what fight he rather see, David Benavides versus Beterbiev or Naoya Inoue versus Nagatani to break the tie.
To this day.
All right. Before we get those votes, let's go to what's going down this weekend and then this month. This month is actually going to be pretty good. All right. So this weekend we have him from Brooklyn, live from Brooklyn. So Miguel Matias against Dalton Smith. Ajit Cabello is also fighting in Germany. Let's see. Leon Paro is fighting in Australia on the 16th. Sudo Ramirez. I believe this one has been postponed. That fight that was supposed to happen on January 16th due to an injury from Safar. Let's see. Raymond Murataya, January 24th against Andy Cruz, Las Vegas. Madrimov is on the undercard as well. That will be live on the zone. Moses Itama is fighting on January 24th as well against Jermaine Franklin. Live from Manchester, England, and the zone. Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson, January 31st, New York, the zone. Keyshawn Davis against Jermaine Ortiz. That one just got announced too. Carlos Adames against Austin Williams. That's for a title. That's going to be a good one. Shushu Carrington is on that as well. Jarrell Miller. Is that Big Baby Miller? No way. That's crazy.
Another one?
And our boy Zizzo Alma Youth is also another one on that card. That's a good card, man. That's a good card to go to. Same day, Xander Zayas against Abbas Baru, San Juan, Puerto Rico. Doesn't say the TV yet. Obviously, Top Rank doesn't have a channel yet. And then the same day, Bakram Murtazaliev, live from Newcastle, England, DAZN against Josh Kelly. Josh Padley is on there. Remember the gentleman who fought against Shakur Stevenson? Earned himself a contract there with Eddie Hearns. January 31st. A lot of action that day. William Scholes fighting January 31st, Chris. This time in Denmark against Jacob
Crazy.
Bank. Are you going to wake up for that, Chris?
I got it, man.
Or are you going to go to sleep to that?
I'll try to wake up.
Monster versus Nakatani, says Big Bro for his vote.
There it is. Fight
Yeah.
to be made in 2026.
Yeah. So, hey, good action. Good action to start off the year, man. We expect a lot. 2025 kind of let us down a little bit after that momentum from 2024. So, I like this start to the year.
Yeah, no, again, it's a good, nice January. We got to see what happens. Post Canelo, we're not sure if he's going to return. It looks like, everything points that he should fight. I'm not sure if he's going to be as active. Again, he obviously wants to, like any fighter, run off to the sunset with some W's. So we'll see if he comes back in Cinco de Mayo, September. But yeah, man, again, I agree, Gio. Started off hot last year, kind of died off a little bit. Hopefully we can keep this momentum throughout the calendar year. But yeah, man, I'm excited for Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo. Right now, obviously, Shakur is favored, but man, Teofimo, if he comes in 100% focused, good shock, man. But yeah, man, I'm excited for what's to come. Again, that's the award part 2. But yeah, man, I'm excited, Joe, for 2026.
Have you ever used AI or any AI stuff or ChatGPT, Chris?
I've used a little bit here and there.
All right. So, who would win in a boxing fight, Naoya Inoue or Junto Nakatani? I'm going to go ahead and press send. Let's see what it says. Let's see what AI says.
Yeah.
Naoya Inoue would likely win a potential boxing match against Junto Nakatani, as most experts favor Inoue's superior speed, skill, and power. Though Nakatani presents a formidable challenge. The fight is expected to be an all-Japanese mega fight in May of 2026. Interesting.
Okay, AI knows a little bit, man. They're accumulating all of our knowledge, man. And they know a little bit. They know a little bit.
I think they just listened to our podcast and came up with that on the quickness.
On the fly. Nice. Now, but again, Joe, I'm excited, man. Again, 2025 was good, man. Again, I think we gave it a B minus, B, solid B rating. Had the potential to be an A, but sizzled out a little bit. But we're hoping for bigger and better things, man. Gio, I gotta ask you, what was a shocking moment of 2025 for you? Anything that comes to mind that was a little shocking that you remember? Maybe something unexpected?
I think we
Start us off.
I think we mentioned most of them, but yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say the return of Pacquiao, even though it was only for one fight against a limited fighter, but to me that was a little nice, shocking moment again. The flashes of himself, but yeah, man, to see the living legend one more time and to do his thing, I thought that was pretty cool. Again, we've always said we don't want to see fighters fight past their expiration date, but I mean it was kind of cool to see the Pac-Man back in action, do his thing. Flashes of brilliance still in his fist.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. That was one of my favorite moments of 2025. And yeah, hopefully we can get some even better moments in 2026. But yeah, I think that's all I have. We're about an hour in almost. It's always fun doing these end of the year award shows, looking back at the year, and then we graded it a B, right? We gave 2025 a B. Yeah, so it was a good year. Hopefully we get a lot more action, and like I said, we got some action this weekend and some good action in January. So yeah, we'll We'll be back next week to break it all down. Can't wait. Excited for another year of boxing. Thank you, mates, for tuning in. Thank you for keeping that chat lit. And then we'll be back soon, Chris. Anything else you want to promote?
Yeah, again, Joe, some movement going on at 154. Our boy Brandon Cannon Adams, getting a title eliminator. A friend of the show, Coach Roma and Bakram, getting set, for their big fight against Josh Kelly. They're protecting their IBF belt. So, two friends of the show, man, on a collision course, Gio. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. We'll be interviewing both teams as a potential match looms for both camps.
God no. And I don't know who NM is, man. Flat out.
Vámonos.
Let's go. Let's do it. Thank you, guys.
Vámonos.
Once again, we'll be back soon, mates.
We made it.
Payday.
We made the belt, Gio. Let's go.
Let's go. We made it to 2026.
Vámonos.
Hola amigos, soy Juan Francisco Gallo Estrada. Quiero mandar un saludo para mis amigos de Contra las Cuerdas. Échenle muchas ganas. Un abrazo, muchas bendiciones.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. You know what mine is? Let's box, bitches. It's almost fight night.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you for the support. Keep doing your thing. You're doing a great job. So thank you and best wishes.
Huge shout out to Against the Ropes.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you guys for the interview and hope to see you guys soon.
Against the Ropes, always doing the right thing.
Shout out to Against the Ropes, man. I appreciate you guys for having me, taking the time on y'all day.
Against the Ropes, #1.
Freddie Roach.
Thank you very much.